Hi, everyone. I'm Wanda, the CEO and founder of Salty Coffee Podcast. And I just wanted to give you a little summary about what the podcast is about. Some people say salty coffee. Why? Don't worry about the coffee and don't worry about the salty. None of it is relevant to what we talk about. One of the things that we do talk about is empowering women and inspiring women. And most of the interviews that I would do will be about women empowering others and building your community, because I think that's very important today. So this month for October, you're going to see a lot of purple, a lot of pink. Pink is for breast cancer awareness, and purple is for domestic violence awareness. So if you have a family member or someone that you know that passed away, we're going to take 1 minute of silence, or maybe 10, a couple of seconds, because I don't have a timer right now. But we'll take 1 minute of silence to remember those who have gone and passed related to breast cancer or to domestic violence. And that was 1 minute. It goes to show you how 1 minute is a long time when you're quiet. But sometimes when you're active and talking, it can go like that. Um, and the person that I'm going to introduce you to today, her name is Maria Hernandez, and she is the author and screenwriter of Trapped. This is her book. And she actually signed it for me because we knew each other. I'm sorry. I don't know if oh, there you go. And the film is out. And she also has the second part, Trap 2. And Maria is an amazing person. I met her. I'll let her tell you the story, but when I met her, I was so inspired. She just had this vibe, positive vibe, and she never complained about anything, including what we were doing. And she's gonna give you a little bit about that. And she's just constantly inspiring me, inspiring many women to do their thing and to take some time, for yourself and just go ahead and I don't know. She's just amazing, and I am so thankful for her to say, I want to do this interview with you, Wanda. And here's Maria.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Wanda, baby, how are ya?
I want you to tell them to jab cross. I want you to tell them how you and I met.
We met through I Love Kickboxing. We were taking classes together and we were kicking butt on the mat and we were doing jab cross and we were doing high kicks and I was trying to do high kicks and I was trying to do a whole lot of stuff. Thank you so much for the intro. It really warmed my heart.
You're welcome. I mean, you're an amazing person. The things you do have inspired me to go ahead and be like, you know what, Wanda, you work 3 jobs all the time. You can do this too. And when I read your book, oh my God, because we're kickboxing, and she's like, yeah, because I write. I'm like, oh damn, she's Latina, she's Afro Latina like me. I want to read this thing like ASAP. So I purchased her book immediately. I started reading it. She signed it for me, and I appreciate that because I'm in the subway and I'm like, oh my God. The first thing I was like, I couldn't put the book down. to be honest with you. So I want you to tell me a little bit about, without, I mean, because I really want people to purchase the book, and I want people to, if they don't want to read, because the film is a little different than the book, but we're going to get into the film later. I
Okay.
want you to tell me your experience. Who inspired you?
Woohoo!
Why did you do this? What made first of all, give us a scenario of a list, because I asked you to do homework and I know you did it. I want you to give me a list of all your hats that you wear
Oh,
today.
okay. I am an author. I am a self-publisher. I am a screenwriter. I am an executive producer. I have a production company, NY Rican Productions. I have a publishing company, MCT Publications. I am also an essential worker. I am a postal worker. I work at the post office. Go postal office.
That's right.
I work at the postal office. I've been working there. I'm going to say almost a year. I've been working with the postal. I started off as a carrier, and now I'm working indoors because Mama couldn't take the weather. So, I mean, it could get brutal. It's not for everyone, but thank goodness there was a lot of other opportunities. So now I'm a mail handler assistant at the post office,
Okay.
and I work evenings. So that's why I look so perky now, because I think it's my day. Although it's my day off, I think I'm at work. So, and I'm also a caregiver. I have a 91-year-old mom with dementia, and my brother is he's 46 years old and he has autism. So I take care of them. So I wear many hats, Wanda.
I know you do. I know. And I follow you. And sometimes I'm like, let me just reach out and touch Maria, because sometimes you have to ask. And but when you come live and you give us a little glimpse of how you're feeling that day, then I'm like, okay, she's good. Because when I don't hear from you, that's when I'm concerned.
It can get overwhelming. I mean, it can get overwhelming between
Imagine.
everything else. And I'm still writing. I'm still writing. I'm writing a few, other things. There's still track 3 and, everything else. And taking care of my mom and taking care of my brother and working. And it's a lot.
So when did you start Trap, and why?
Ooh. Trapped, I started in 2009. I did it after a breakup. Let me have some coffee.
Some salty coffee? No.
Some salty coffee.
Some salty coffee. That's hilarious.
I met, I broke up with a guy and I was devastated, and it was, he was an author, an aspiring author. So, I was actually challenged to write. I didn't think I had it in me. And I was told, you should try writing. You have a story to tell. We all have a story to tell. And that is the truth. We all have a story to tell. So I started writing and writing and writing. And then the imagination started. And then, after a few glasses of Chardonnay, the imagination went, woo! And I went nuts ham on the book. And by the time I finished, people that read the manuscript, they were like, oh, damn, this is good. You wrote this? I was like, yeah, I wrote it. At the time I smoked. Me, cigarettes, and Chardonnay. It was just the 3 of us and the manuscript. But it's really close to the heart, because I wanted the neighborhoods to be in my neighborhood where I grew up. So I made her main character, Angelina Rivera. She lives in Taft Projects. I'm from Taft Projects in East Harlem. The gentleman, Daryl, lived across the street. My ex lived across the street. And, love triangle. I wanted to add in. I've always loved Stephen King. So I always loved the intrigue, the murder, the mystery, all that. So I wanted to add all of that into Trapton.
And you did. You did a great job, because I'm telling you, the first 3 pages, I was in the train like, what the fuck? I'll bleep that out, but I said flower.
Yeah. What the flower?
What the flower? Like, what just happened? And I was I couldn't put the book down. I read it like in a week.
And that's the response I've gotten from a lot of people, which is wonderful. They're like, listen, once I start reading this book, I just can't put it down. And that's when I knew. I'm like, oh, so I always knew I loved to write, because I've always, when I was a little girl, I would write short stories, and I would look at a TV show and say, well, maybe if I change this and do this and do that, maybe that'll work better. And so I always knew I had it in me, but for me to write the book and for people to have the reaction as you have and many have had, it's a blessing.
That is. And one of the things that I loved about the book is that I'm in it too. Like we're in it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's mentioning Columbia University. Oh my goodness. And she's mentioning places in Florida. And she's mentioning places that I have friends that live in, or friends that lived in the neighborhood. And I love that about the book. So when you finish the book, then what? Like, how did you come up with this beautiful
Well, that was
cover?
not the original cover. The original cover was this young lady all dressed in leather and with the hair and looking like with the gun, looking like she was going to kill somebody. I was never really happy with that particular picture because it didn't really reflect the story.
Right.
But at the time, because I was a novice at writing and not at writing, I was writing, and I was a novice at how to get everything self-published. I was getting guidance from other people.
Okay.
So it was I'm going to say a blessing and a curse, because it was a blessing because I learned a lot. It was a curse because I didn't get my book out in 2009. And the reason I didn't bring the book out in 2009 was because, again, didn't know other people were taking care of the cover of everything else. My name was not even misspelled. It was like the wrong last name. Instead of Maria Hernandez, it was Maria Henderson. That was put in on the
Wait, this is even before they printed it.
No, it was already printed.
Oh.
Let me tell you the story.
Okay.
Very short. I got the books. I got it in my house. Everything was, everything was good. I was happy. Blah, blah, blah. My mother, I showed it to my mother. I go to the room and I showed it to my mother. Mom, my book is out. And she's like, oh, my God. The Puerto Rican mother. Dios mío, muchísimas gracias. Dios mío, mija. The whole thing. And then I hear my mother say, I'm in the living room. I hear my mother say, who's Maria Henderson? I'm like, who's Maria? I don't know Maria Henderson. She goes, who is Maria Henderson? Why is that name on your book? So when I looked at the book, I noticed that it was Maria Henderson. See, at that time, it was 2009. It was before Kindle. Well, Kindle was just coming around.
Yeah.
We were still buying a lot of paperback.
Right.
And I had like about 2,000 books. And they all said Maria Henderson. So
yikes.
That and a lot of personal issues that I was going through, I decided to put it on hold.
Okay.
I put the books, I put them in my mom's closet. They're actually still there. They're still there. And I decided to take a hiatus until 2016.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And actually I was going to leave the business altogether. And I was going to just, do the 9 to 5, do this. But when you have a creative juice in you, it's hard to put it out. And that fire. So I decided, you know what, let me give it one more try. I changed the cover. I used a very talented artist. Her name is Nicole Curie in Miami. She paints. She's wonderful. I met her when I lived there. I lived there for 6 years.
Okay.
And she was the one who designed my book cover. I reached out to a young lady. Her name is Carla Dean. She's an editor, phenomenal editor. And I reached out to her and told her, listen, I want you to look at my manuscript and let's just, get it together. And that's where book you are holding came to life. Yes.
Now tell me a little bit about the title, because the title also doesn't. I think in the second book I get it. I
Mm-hmm.
get a little bit more of the title, but
Okay.
the first book I don't.
Well, okay. If you look at the book cover, okay, the book cover, she's looking up. She's like you think she's choking. You think that she's like restrained. Only thing that's holding her is a veil. That's the
Right.
only thing that's restricting her is a veil. When trapped, when the name, I thought of trapped because I thought of how I felt so trapped in the relationship I was in, and in many relationships I've been in, how we feel trapped out of the simplest things. It's just like as simple as, darn it, leave them. Darn it, just leave. But we start thinking either the kids or the relationship, or he used to be nice. There's a part in the book where she says, but there was a time when he loved me, and I know he loves me, and I love him. And girl, wake up.
And maybe that's why I couldn't relate. Because I wake up in two flags.
I know that's right.
That's why I was like, wait, I can't relate to this trap thing, but I see it now. You're absolutely right.
Yes. So that's why I said, and I don't believe in, like, when I brought Trapped out, it was called, instead of urban books, it was called hood books. So hood books was always the same titles. My boyfriend's a drug dealer, and now I'm a drug dealer, and let's party. And things like that. I didn't want. I wanted a one word, something that people would say, yeah, trapped. Because if you put a lot of names or a lot of words into your title, it's just people are gonna go, yeah, that book. Throw mama from the train on Thursday. You know what I mean?
Drinking orange juice on the bus. I get you.
But everybody's like, trapped. Oh yeah, trapped. So that's what I thought of. I said, I'm gonna keep it one name.
And how long did it take you to write the first one?
Trapped, it took me, I'm going to say it took me 3 months, maybe 2-3 months. And yeah, because what I would do is every day, like I said, I'm a big follower of Stephen King, and one of the things that that I saw that he does is that he would write 6 pages every day.
Got it.
So that's what I would do. Even if I didn't write 6 pages, even if I would write 2 or 3 pages, I would do something every day. And once I did that, and during the day, what I would do is I would think of the plot. As writers, we talk to ourselves a lot, and we have conversations with ourselves a lot. And that's what I did. I would have, because I would talk it out, so that way when I would put it on paper and people would read it, it would feel like an actual conversation.
Perfect. So 3 months. And you did this in 2009.
2009. I was still living at my mom's house. I moved back from Florida.
How did you even start? Like, what is the process? Do you first have to get author's license? Do you have to? Because some of our viewers are not knowledgeable, but like, let's say there's a young person out there that has millions of journals that they can publish and make it a book. What is the first process?
First process I would tell them to do is get a good editor.
Okay.
Get a good editor, and just give them, give them your stuff so they can edit it in book format, in ebook format, and it could all be prepared. Preparation is the key. Mm-hmm. I am very, very strong on editing. Editing, using an editor is key, because as much as I would love to think of myself as someone who speaks well and dots the I's and crosses the T's, I am not very well when it comes to editing. And with an editor, it's good for fresh pair of eyes to see.
Okay.
That would be one of the things. The very first thing I would advise anyone who has a prepared manuscript, let's get an editor.
And then the editor, is there like a network of editor? Like, is there a writers network? Is there a writers ceremony? Like, are there?
Well, there editors. See, I use one editor. I use Carla Dean. She's the only one who touches all of my books and stuff because she's really really good. There are book like writers community and on Instagram, and where because it all depends on the editor. One could be pricey, one editor could be a little cheaper, and it could be just as good. I always advise people just do the background check them, make sure that they're reputable, and things like that. Check reviews are very important for that. And sit with someone if you want to do a book cover, sit with someone professional. Always use a professional to design your book cover. I've seen so many book covers that you can tell was just a cut and paste job. And I tell all of the authors like this: if you want to make the kind of book cover that if you would pass by a bookstore, you would go and look, and then you would stop and look again.
Right.
That's the kind of book cover that you need. Not a book cover with a whole bunch of stuff and no. Simple.
Simple is everything.
But to the point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after you got the editor, then is the editor part of the printing process?
No. See, the good thing about it is now Amazon is amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing how things can be done through one place. Where in 2009, it used to be like the editor and then the book cover designer, and then take it to the printer, and then they would print like 2,000 books, and then you would and then you would sell those books, and then you would order more books, and then you would sell more books, and then and there was always like that middle part where that lull, where people would be waiting. Now with Amazon, everything is done at the flick of a computer.
Click of a mouse.
Click of a mouse. That is beautiful. I love Kindle. Kindle will get the book to the reader right away, and but there are people, I'm old school. I love my paperback. Call me old school, but I love my paperback. And the good thing about Amazon is that they'll print it right there. Amazon, it has all of you send all of your information to Amazon. They have everything there. The person will have it in no time. I don't think it took you that long to get the book, right?
No, like I ordered. You told me about it, and I ordered it that night, and I got it like that Monday.
Yes,
like literally, I got it that Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, it's very good. So I would advise to use those avenues, which would the thing is to make it as easy as possible for myself. I'm gonna keep it on me for myself. Make it as easy as possible, because I have to be out there networking. I have to be out there getting this done, getting that done, and I'm self-publishing. Self-publishing is not easy.
I know.
It's not easy. I heard, someone said, as a matter of fact, she was a mentor, she said, well, all you got to do is take a book, take it to the printer, print it, and voila, you're an author. And I looked at her like, no, no, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of networking. Everything's done through the computer now.
And thank God for Facebook too. Like Facebook, you can do a lot more now. Yes. You can do, and not for nothing, but COVID has changed a lot of things also, because now, instead of you having to go out to come to my place so that we can interview and promote your book and your film and your other book and your new book. We can just do it like this and
Yes.
then share it. Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
It is, and I tell a lot of people we're going back to, I remember the 70s and the 80s where people talked to each other more. And that became a lost art with the computers and with the telephone. It became a lost art. I mean, I would literally see people sitting at dinner doing this on their phone
They're still doing it.
talking. So now, the people have no choice because now they're home with their families. Now, they have to talk. They have to, So yeah, the COVID has changed things a lot.
And for some, for the better.
Mhm.
So before I go into the second book,
Yes.
did you do the screenwriting for the Trap, just the first one, before you wrote the book or after you wrote the second book?
After I wrote the book.
The second book.
I wrote the book. I did. And I had originally asked someone to write the screenplay, and they did. And of course, I paid for the services, but I was not happy with the way it was put together because it was you had mentioned that movies are a little bit different. The original screenplay was like completely off left field. I kept looking at it and going,
this is not my book.
who is this? Who is this person, Angelina? So I said, because I'm an Aries and I'm very stubborn and I'm very evil when it comes. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself.
Good for you.
That's what I did. I went and online. Thank you, YouTube, online, and I on screenwriting and stuff like that, and I self-taught, and I went and I wrote the screenplay.
Because you know the story, you know the characters, you are the characters because you say you talk to yourself as each character.
We have a great
So
conversation.
who better to write the screenplay? And I have to say that I loved the film.
Thank you.
Mostly because again, I saw myself, I saw my neighbors, I saw my neighborhood, I saw my hood, and I love that. I
made sure to film in East Harlem. It's filmed entirely in East Harlem.
I know, I saw it. So, how long did it? Let's go into that now. How long did it take you to? Oh, so you wrote the screen,
right?
You did it yourself. Now what? What happened then?
Well, then I turned to some people, and because I had a friend that she wrote, she did the movie on her book.
Okay.
So she did the movie. So I went to see her in the premiere of her movie, and she told me, "You're next." I said, "What do you mean I'm next? What are you talking about? I'm next." She goes, "You're next. Trap needs to be a movie." So I'm like, "Why?" I was a little nervous about that because I had a good reception with the book. I didn't know how people were going to deal with it with the movie. So that's where I did the screenplay, and then I did it myself. I also there was a gentleman, the gentleman that plays Daryl. I had a good meeting with him, so he helped out a lot as well. Because he's an actor who has worked in so many of the movies.
Can you say his name?
Oh, absolutely, Jamel Howard.
Because everyone that I showed the film, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's Jamel," and I'm like, "Oops, I don't know what Jamel." But everybody else knew who he was, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
When I met Jamel, we go into this restaurant, this Caribbean restaurant downtown, and it's his spot. They have their spots, and it's his spot. So I go in and I meet up with him, and I'm walking in. We're going to the table. He comes in. He goes, "Hey," to everybody, and they're like, "Hey, Jamel, yes, your table's ready." And I know. I was like, oh my. So now I'm strutting like, yeah, I'm with him. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He turned out to be the sweetest person. And when I spoke to him, I told him, I need to confess something to you. And he said, what do you need to confess? I said, listen, I'm one of the 90, the maybe less than 1% person that has not seen Power. Because he was in Power.
I'm that 1% with you, because I've not seen it either.
He was in season 4 of Power. I was like, I didn't see Power, and I don't like seeing fake movies like The Purge. And he was.
You like to write them.
Purge, and he looked at me and he goes, "Okay." I said, "But I did do research." And I asked my goddaughter. My goddaughter, she's a big Power fan. So when I told her it was Jamel Howard, she was like, "Oh yes." Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but he was so sweet, and he was also very helpful in me navigating through this movie.
And besides him, who else do you thank for making it happen for you? Because how long did that take?
I'm going to say the cast and crew.
Everyone.
The movie, everyone. Like I said, they literally took me by the hand, and they were like, "Okay, Mama," because there were times when I was like, "I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going to go. No, we're stopping production." And they were like, "No, Mama, you're not going to stop production."
Right.
They held my hand, and they were, because each one of them brought some sort of knowledge to the table. A lot of them, it was their first feature movie. And they were so excited that it was their first feature. There were a few. There was Charisse Martinez, Keisha Morales. They were 2 phenomenal women who also helped. They helped me a lot in the directing wise and how the angles and everything else. Jamel helped out in that as well. Charlie O Productions, they were the ones who did the filming. I learned so much about editing by watching them, and about filming by watching them. I mean, it's like Trap 2, I'm ready. I'm ready for Trap.
You better be.
I am ready.
One thing that surprised me about the timing, because you mentioned the timing to do the film, and I always thought that it was gonna take more, because the film actually is shown in a lot of different places within one area, but it also, shows other areas as well. And I thought that part of the editing was probably that, going to Florida, going to Miami, or going to, but how long did it take you to complete it? Like the whole process?
Well, the whole process from casting call to editing, I'm going to say about 4 months. And
I was surprised when you said that. I was really surprised.
I'm going to say about 4 months. Filming itself, see, a lot of independent films, depending on the film, depending on the locations, and that's another thing I've learned. The locations and the how to condense. Especially when it's an independent film.
Right.
How to condense. That much I didn't know much about, so I had help with that.
Okay.
And independent film can be done in a month. It can be done in a month, 2 months tops. If it's a long independent film. Of course, if it's a high budget, that's a different one. That can take as long as it.
So so you had finished Trap 2 before the film?
Absolutely.
Were you involved in the filming while you were still finishing up Trap 2 or no? No, right?
No. Trap 2 I finished before I started filming Trapped. Yes, my second baby.
look, look. If you think this,
Big
this.
Let me tell you about Trap 2. I started typing Trap 2. So now, because now, you read the story, so Angelina's at a whole new level. So I'm like, now I'm going, the imagination is really going wild, right? And I have to do these characters and how, develop them and stuff like that. Well, by the time I finished, it was, and there was a point where I just took half of the book and I deleted it because I didn't like the way it was going. So and then I started writing it again. When I gave it to my editor, to Carla called me back and she goes, "Did you have a life?" I said, "What are you talking about?"
You actually did.
She said, "This is a bigum." That's what she called it, a bigum. This is a bigum. I said, is it a big book? She goes, "Maria, you didn't realize what you wrote?" I said, "Oh, okay." She goes, "You're going to have to give me some time with this." I said, "Not a problem." So she did the editing on it, and we were back and forth because that's one good thing about her. She's very hands-on.
So do the editors charge by words and chapters?
Sometimes yes, they do charge
the timing. Yeah,
some will charge by page. Carla, with Carla, it all depends on with the size of the book.
Okay.
Like book like Trap 2, if she charges by word, she'll be a rich woman, if she charges by word. So she'll do, and good thing about Carla is she does a payment plan, which is awesome. Not many editors do that. She'll do a payment plan with you. She'll work with you. She knows how it is to be up and coming. So
that's awesome. And I do want to say, if you can give a little synopsis of the second one, because I love this one a little bit, probably more, because one of the characters is an Ivy League student.
Yes.
And she's an undergraduate Ivy League student that is searching for the mystery of this one.
Yes.
So I don't know. I can't wait for the film now, because when I was reading this one, you did such a great job in describing everything.
Thank you.
There were times in the sex scenes of the book.
Yeah.
I'm in the train and I'm like, oh, flower. Anybody looking? I don't want anybody to see that I'm reading this, because my face will literally blush.
Yes.
Times where incidents occurred with the mother, and I'll be like, a tear here, a tear. I was like, oh, what? Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So the second book, I am just so excited. Can you tell us where we can, besides Amazon, where else can we find Trapped, Trap 2, the film?
Oh, okay. Well, Trapped 1 and 2, I do have it exclusively through Amazon. Okay. I do have a few copies of Trapped, of the first book, physical copies of the first books that I do have for sale. For that, they can contact me on my email, which is nyreconproductions@gmail.com. And they can, ask me more information, and I'll be, able to let them know how they can get a copy of the book. And if they order a copy, of course, I'll, do it at, I always do it at a discount. I always sell it at $8 per book. Shipping and handling, I take care of, and I sell it for them.
Okay.
And, but if they want to get it through Kindle or something like that, they could gladly do it through Amazon. That's not a problem. The movie is actually available now through ROKU. And ROKU, you gotta go on ROKU and then go to CBTV, which is Caribbean Buzz TV. They're the station that's playing the movie. And as a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, we were number one. Trapped was number one for a few weeks in viewership, which I was super stoked about, And now we're going to try to expand it. Well, we've expanded it to Apple TV.
Okay.
And we're trying to expand it to iPhone and Android. And I'm doing it all through Caribbean Buzz. They're the ones who are doing it. They're a phenomenal, pair of gentlemen, Kev and Nigel. I met them through an interview I did when, before Trapped came out, the movie came out. I did an interview with Kev, and then, we spoke, and he was telling me about the station that they were getting together, Caribbean Buzz TV. And with Trapped, what happened was, after I filmed it, and after it was edited, and after it's in my hard drive, and after it's ready to go, and I'm all right setting up the premiere, COVID happened. COVID happened.
In March?
Yeah, I could not, because I filmed it last year, but I was getting
That's right.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, I filmed it in the summer of 2019. It was filmed. It was edited because it was like midsummer, so it was fall when we edited it. But I couldn't bring it out just yet because I had it at the film festivals, which it won at the Urban Action Showcase Film Festival.
Right, because you won an award for that.
Yes, I did. Yes,
I saw, the picture with the little award.
Yes, I was so happy.
But there's nothing more rewarding than you doing it on your own. Like, isn't that amazing?
It is.
I know you have a team, and I know you have, supporters, families that support you. But as a woman, like, you didn't have a husband, you didn't have a boo, that guy, the ex that left you.
Yes.
He just made you more powerful.
Contributed to the storyline.
I'm not gonna say what happened.
Contributed to the storyline. It's funny because the gentleman, he's no longer an author, and I see him every once in a while. And I go, "Have you read my book?" And he's like, "No, I haven't had a chance to read it." I said, "Okay, you want a copy?"
You can watch the film.
Yeah, watch the film, But yeah, I this is something I'm so proud of because I did on my own.
You did.
I did that. I wrote the storyline, and it encouraged me to write other things, because I in the works of writing a comedy, which I've never tackled before, and I didn't know I was funny.
You're hilarious.
I didn't know I was funny.
You're hilarious.
I was like, oh, I am funny.
You are.
I love Broadway. I love the theater. And that's another thing I want to tackle. I want to tackle writing, screenplays and writing more screenplays, writing more books, writing, for a play and things like that. So there's so many ideas in my head.
I'm sure.
The committee. The committee is very active.
The executive board.
Yes, I have the CEO here and the secretary over here. I mean, it's nice.
So what is the one priority focus on your next project right now? Like, what are you working on right now?
Right now, I have an idea for a play. I'm working on that's what I wanted, to focus on. It's writing a play. So I'm focusing on that. I'm also focusing on Trapped too. I want, because as you could see, it's a thick book. If I were to do a screenplay, like really based on it, the movie would be like Godfather, 3 hours.
No, that we had a conversation about this. It's definitely one of those power moments where you make it a season with. I mean, literally, you can like, this is 10 seasons.
Are you kidding me? That's exactly
Because one chapter can be 10 episodes.
That's why I want, and that's another thing I want to dive into. TV writing.
TV, yeah.
writing for TV, to writing TV shows and things like that. I mean, it's just so many possibilities out there, and I'm so glad that you invited me to your show, because I have to say I'm proud of you, girl.
Me?
I'm
My kickboxing moves, or
you, girl. We
I don't know. I think we did have a conversation. I don't think like my podcasting really started when I started, like, people like you inspired me to do this, because I'm like, I don't hear about the Marias. I don't hear about the Nina Garcias. I don't hear about the people in my community. Like, where are these people? You know what? If nobody else wants to hear about, like, put them out there, then that's what I want to do. And that's my focus.
Let me tell you, one of my dreams, my big dreams, is to start a nonprofit. Let me, because just like I was that little girl in the projects who wrote those short stories, but who didn't have that belief system, like you could do it, till I was much older. I want to reach out to those kids, because I know that in those projects, sometimes I'll just stand there and look at the projects and I'll go, I know that there's an author there, there's an actor there, there's so many people there with talent, so many children. And because of all of these budget cuts and all of that, so many things have been cut to where these kids do not have the resource.
I agree. And you know what? What happened to me was, because I could have gone nonprofit with the podcast.
Right.
But I decided to do it outside of the nonprofit, and I'll tell you why. Because I realized that with the nonprofits, they were becoming profitable.
Yes.
And we have to be a little bit careful, because we start losing the mission and the vision.
Absolutely. That's why it's something that I have in the, committee phase. It's in here, and I want to implement it, because I don't want it to turn into starting as a nonprofit and then getting into okay, so now we're going to have Buffy come in from Staten Island and come in, and I'm not saying anything bad about Staten Island.
I agree.
But I don't want that to happen. I want it to stay strictly with the people here in this neighborhood.
That's right.
I love East Harlem. East Harlem was where I was born. I was born at Flower Hospital, which was now it's Cardinal Cook on 106th Street and 5th Avenue. And, I go to Mount Sinai Hospital all the time. And I went to school at PS 57 on 115 and 5th and 3rd Avenue. I went to junior high school 45 on 120th and 1st Avenue. So it like my life is here. And that's where I want to help out, is here, because it's just the right thing to do.
I agree.
I mean, God gave me this talent, and I know God gave it to a lot of children that are living in those projects right now.
I agree, especially in the 80s when it was so hard for us. I was 10 in the 80s, and the 80s was so difficult.
Yes.
And our imaginations just went wild.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'm glad you mentioned the 80s, because I was a teenager in the 80s. And I remember, the thing was, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or sex, drugs, and disco, back then. And, a lot of these kids, if they would have extracurricular activities, they wouldn't be gang members. You understand what I'm saying? They wouldn't be
exactly.
They wouldn't be out in the jails. You know how many great authors were incarcerated? There were so many great authors that were incarcerated, and they honed their talents while they were locked up in jail. I wouldn't want that for any other kid.
Right.
I want to go somewhere. I have a goddaughter I raised, I practically raised that child. That child, she calls me Ma. I love her to death. And she has 2 daughters. They call me Grandma. One is 17. I still can't believe I have a teenager in the midst. And the other one is 14. They're both teenagers. Thank goodness that we have them in extracurricular activities. The oldest one loves to swim. She's in the swim team in her school. The youngest one loves track. She's in the track team. We make sure that they're in their extracurricular activities. We make sure that they do what they have to do. But a lot of families don't have that opportunity. They don't.
I know.
And that's where that's my dream. Do a nonprofit. Do it right here in the middle of the hood. I'm not going to do it on any state. No, we're going to do it right here in the middle of the hood and concentrate on the kids in the project.
I love that. And we're going to make it happen.
There you go, girl. Let's do
it. I'm telling you, if you go to you've been to my website, right?
Absolutely, I have.
You go to my website, you'll find everything in there. And if you don't find something, I'm hoping people would contact me to say, hey, I need help with this. Absolutely. How can I do it? Maria, I want to thank you again so much. Do you have any words for your team, your family, whoever's listening, whoever's going to watch this on replay? Because, it's Sunday night. Some people are watching, I don't know what's on, football. I don't know, with fake people. I was watching a basketball game and there was like fake people on there. I was like,
did you see that? I really can't relate to that. Seeing the cardboard cut off some people.
But is that, no, this one is actually real people, but they just put them on like in screen and it just looks weird. Yeah, it just looks weird. I'm like, okay, on with the game.
I knew it was like it was a hockey game. I'm a hockey buff. I
like hockey too.
Yes, I love hockey. And they oh God, who was it? Tampa Bay, I believe, won the Stanley Cup. And usually there's like revelry and there's screaming and there's this and there's banging on the plexiglass and all of that. Poor guys, they won and they're yelling and no one's at the stadium but them. And so, and you see everything empty, like, and there's
weird. It's weird.
It just is. It was weird. I was like, I feel so sorry for them, although they're a team I don't like. But
who do you like? The Red Devils?
No, the Rangers.
Okay.
The Rangers.
But didn't New York have like 2 hockey teams? Mm-hmm. What state was it that had 2 hockey teams?
Well, New York has the Long Islanders.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I knew there was something like that.
And the Rangers, and then there's the New Jersey Devils.
All right. So give us a little closure to the wonderful Sunday Fun Day with Maria.
You know what? If I'm going to say anything, I'm going to say this. It's never too old. You're never too old to do what you love to do. And I have so many people to thank for opening my eyes from the first moment I wrote the first book and everything went wrong, because I feel when something goes wrong is a learning experience. And that was a learning experience for me. To the people who helped me with the movie, oh my goodness, I don't know. I wouldn't know where I would be without them. The actors and the crew. I started I got 2016. I was in my 50s, and
damn girl, you look like you're 40.
I am 57. Woo!
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you. But there were a lot of naysayers. Oh, you're too old. Think about your future. Retirement and all of that. And I'm like, but it's my dream. So never give up on your dream. Never. I don't care how old. Listen, I don't care how old you are. You have a dream, you go for it. Go for it. Win or lose or draw. Just go for it. There's going to be a lot of pitfalls and there's going to be a lot of no's. But there is going to be some yeses out there.
Even if you have to do it yourself.
Even if you have to do it yourself. I opened up the publishing company. I opened up the production company. It was funny because when I was naming it, I said, I got to name it, New Eurekan. I'm New Eurekan,
That's right.
but J-Lo has that name.
Okay. We got to give it to her.
Yeah, J-Lo has that name.
Even though she's a Bronxite, but okay.
Yeah, but she took it okay. No, because I was doing a search, because that's one of the things I always advise people. If you're gonna name a company, do a search, make sure nobody else has it. And I did it, and it said Jennifer Lopez, new owner, New Eureka Productions. I'm like, damn. I said, but wait a minute, maybe I could change it. So I put, instead of New York, I put NY, the letter N, the letter Y, and Rican. NY Rican Productions. There you go. Boom. And it took for me to start my own companies for me to get my dream going. But I did it.
But you did it.
And for the naysayers, let them keep naysaying. They're still naysaying me. And meanwhile, I filmed some movies. And I filmed the movie.
And you keep it moving, because you know what? I think the legacy you leave behind is that you did it.
Yeah.
Maria, not Henderson, Hernandez. Did it.
And I want to teach my 2 granddaughters. They love saying grandma's an author. They love saying grandma is a filmmaker. You understand? I want them to shoot for the moon, and every young woman out there of color. I want them to shoot for the moon and say, I can do it. And that's what I would like to leave behind as a legacy. We can do it.
Sí se puede.
Se puede. That's right.
Maria, thank you so much. I'm so happy. When I don't see you online, I will be texting you now, because I have
your Same here. When I don't see you online, I'll be texting you as well.
Yeah. But I am so happy that we did this. And we did it with grace and with power.
Yeah.
We continue to empower our community. And thank you again.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Email me all of the stuff that we spoke about, because I think I do have your website and all of that. So I'll post it.
Okay. I was explaining, the website is temporarily down because there's some revamping on it, but I'm gonna send you the email addresses and everything, and the links to the links to the books. And everything else. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. Have a good night.
Thank you, my love.
And don't work too hard.
I'll try not to. But
all right. Bye, everyone. I am so happy that she came. And I am so glad that I know there's 3 people for sure watching. And I am so happy that you watched throughout the whole, almost an hour. But may you all have a good night. May you all stay safe, and continue to grow and continue to learn your neighbors. Continue to talk. Don't be shy. I was such a shy person, and Maria just like, you jack crossing today. We're gonna be partners, and I learned so much from her, and I love her to death. So I love you all. Take care of yourself. I'm gonna post everything that's gonna be available. Stay strong. Remember breast cancer awareness and domestic violence awareness. And if you have a friend or loved one, just keep in touch with them. Call them. Smooches. Mwah.